right, and welcome to the TSG Multimedia video podcast for October 1st, 2014. This is John sitting here with
Dan,
as usual, and we're looking at some N-scale stuff here. What's this all about?
yeah, these are some very old N-scale boxcars, which I don't really have them on here because they're old, but I had them on here because they all have the same issue. One of our listeners named Arthur, who I think has written to us before and suggested a podcast, was asking about stirrups on freight cars, the corner stirrups, because sometimes they get broken.
Okay.
And so I thought I would address that issue using these freight cars as examples because these just happen to be some freight cars I found that have broken stirrups.
Oh, perfect.
In my collection.
Yeah, it's almost like you planned it that way.
Yeah, I didn't pick these for any other real reason, but it just so happens that all three of these are cars that I've had since I was a kid. This is a really old Microtrains car when Microtrains was still part of Katy. And this is I think this one's a AHM car. This one I think is an Atlas, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, they're all really old. In fact, these two still have their Rapido couplers on them. I never bothered to change them. So,
oh yeah, look at that. They're not even knuckles, are they?
No, they're just the old. These are serious old school here. But anyway, they make good examples for what I want to do. So quite a few Microtrains cars have parts available to replace the stirrups, and Microtrains still sells them. And this one happens to be for gondolas. It's not the right ones for this car, but they come in little packages like this, and it comes with enough for I don't know how many cars, but
looks like quite a few.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 anyway. But these little parts, they look like this. I don't know if you can see this, but they're basically you got each corner stirrup, and then there's this connecting piece, and it's basically just one. Whoops, moving it here. It's one big piece of plastic.
Oh, I see. So does that screw on the bottom or something?
It goes inside, so you have to take the car apart to do this. So that's what I'm going to do next. So Microtrains boxcars are fairly easy to get apart. You just have to spread the body a little, and then you can lift out the floor.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah. So I'll just put that aside and turn this over. And this is where the stirrups are right here.
Okay.
So I got to find, is this the broken side? I think. Oh, they're all broken. Okay.
that makes it easy.
That makes it easy. So you're just going to pull this off. Okay.
Oh, I see. It had a little stirrup holder already, didn't it?
Yeah. And as you can see, this one's missing one side.
It's kind of hard to see with black on black there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, take my word for it. It's broken. So, and
no, I trust you.
Here's our new part. All you have to do is stick it on like this. And that's it.
That really is easy.
Yeah. And then we'll do the other one.
Yeah. That's easier than I would have expected. I thought you were going to have to make a tiny drill bit and drill the smallest holes in the world and try to put it on.
As you can see, I haven't used any tools at all for this other than my fingers. So this is what it looks like when it's on there. And as you can see, it looks good as new.
Yeah, it's really, really small.
Yeah, I know. It's a little hard to see because we're filming. The part is black and the background is black. So, but it is fixed. And the nice thing is that most of the Microtrains cars are like this. So even today, the modern ones.
Very quick and easy fix there.
Yeah, most of them. I don't know if 100% of them are because they brought out a lot of new body designs since this car was made, but at least a good portion of them are still made that way. Other brands of cars aren't quite so easy. And I've got a couple of different sets of detail parts here. This one is by BLMA, and this is just stirrups for different types of freight cars. And then this one is by Gold Medal Models, and this actually includes details for other parts of the car. This is actually a modern boxcar detail set, so some of it wouldn't really be appropriate for an old car like this. But it does include some stirrups. The main difference between these is the BLMA stirrups that come with stirrups that use 2 different mounting methods.
Okay.
And the Gold Medal models are pretty much all just drill holes.
Right.
Okay, so whereas there's some of them that you drill and some that you glue. So this may be a little more versatile. So I'm going to go ahead and use this set for this, what I'm doing right now, but I just wanted to point out that there are other choices. Okay, so I've turned one of these cars over, and I'm going to start by removing the truck. So just try to pry it off.
What is that, just a screwdriver, a little...
Yeah, it's just a little screwdriver, and this pin should pop out. It's a little stubborn. But there it goes. Okay. So here's our smashed...
Yeah, it looks really good.
Corner step. So first off, let's just finish getting rid of it. And I'll just file it a little bit to smooth it out. Okay, so I've chosen some stirrups that I think are probably the right style for this type of car. I didn't look at any reference books, so if I'm using the wrong thing, I'm sure somebody will write in and tell me. But
it could happen.
Yeah. In any case, this is more about demonstrating the example. So there's basically two different types of BLMA steps. They have this type, which is has little prongs on it, will slip into holes that you have to drill in the car. And then there's this type, which folds over like this. This is the same part. It's just this one's folded. And this requires a flat mounting area.
Right.
Now, in this particular case, you can see that the floor of the boxcar and the area where the stirrup lives aren't at the same level.
Yeah, you'd have to shim it, huh?
Yeah, so either way, I'm gonna have to shim it. So I think maybe what I'll try to do is to do one of each on either corner, and we'll see what we get. But in any case, what I'm going to have to do, I think, is to use a little bit of scrap sheet styrene and build a little mounting pad.
Yeah.
Behind there. So that's what I'm going to do next. When I'm drilling into the edge of a car like this, I always hold the drill at just a slight angle so that I don't accidentally come out the side of the car.
Oh, right.
I'd rather drill, if I'm exaggerating the angle here, but if I was going to drill, I'd rather have the drill poke out on the inside where no one's ever going to see it than on the outside.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where it would be a problem. So the pad gives you a little bit more wiggle room. That's why I made it a little thicker on this side, just because the length of these prongs with the other pad, it was a little too short.
Right.
So I made this one a little longer. That's why. And actually, these prongs, I did cut them slightly because the holes that I was able to drill weren't quite deep enough to leave them the length they came. So I just nipped them off with some wire cutters. And I'm going to use some CA type glue. And now that the holes are drilled, just put this in there.
Yeah, good luck. It's so small. Jeez. I guess with a little bit of patience, huh?
Yeah.
And a lot of precision. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, that looks good.
And the BLMA instructions pointed out that there's a little score mark on the side here that tells you the depth that they're supposed to be at.
Oh, I see.
So that you're supposed to line the score mark up with the car body, so that that way they stick down the right amount.
So I would be inclined, and tell me if this is on the right track here, Dan, since I've only been watching you do this stuff for a few years now, but wouldn't you probably paint that little pad that you created black or brown or something other than white, so it wouldn't show up so much?
Yeah, I would definitely.
Probably black, huh?
Probably black, since the underneath of the car is black.
Yeah.
And of course, the stirrup itself, I would probably try to paint the same color as the car body.
Right.
But
kind of goes without saying, right?
Yeah, I'm not worrying about that right now because it actually is easier to see this way. Now, the other difference between these pads is on the other side. This pad is actually a little bit lower. It's not as thick.
Oh, right.
And that's because with this glue-on style, there's a little bit of depth right here.
Yeah.
So I had to allow for that, so otherwise this would stick down too far.
Right.
This is very easy. I just put glue on the flat part of this and then just put it on here.
Yeah, look at that. I think that actually looks better, Dan.
Just stick it in the right spot, and that's it.
And maybe it only looks better to me because it's on a smaller little pad thing, and that white is really distracting me.
Yeah, and keep in mind that this, you're never going to see the underside of this car.
Yeah.
Once it's on the track.
That's true.
And this isn't a contest-winning model anyway. So,
Are you sure?
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know but it's that is probably a little bit easier in some ways, especially because one thing they didn't do, which I wish they had done, a lot of times when you get these little photo etched parts on the little fret that they come on, this extra metal,
Okay.
they will put a little drilling jig with some holes in it.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can space the holes properly, and I really wish they'd done that. That would be one suggestion for an improvement that they could make, because it would make it a lot easier to do this. Because I just had to sort of line one of these up and do the best I could with drilling the holes.
Well, it worked though. I mean, it looks fine.
And I used I think this is a number 78 drill bit or something like that. You could probably go even smaller, but
the point is it's super small.
Yeah, and by doing it upside down like this. With the glue, I'm not having to hold. Obviously, as you can see, I don't have to hold that there.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the questions that the person who wrote in was asking about too. Was like having to hold the thing while you're trying to glue it, and that was not a very pleasant thing to have to do.
Yeah.
Also, it's really hard to hold something that steady. But this way, with it upside down, it'll just cure on its own.
Yeah. Let gravity do the work.
Right. Put that back on, and then there you go.
And there they are, put on.
Yeah,
and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, this incidentally, this car is one of my first attempts at weathering that I did long ago.
Little Dan.
Yeah, little Dan did. So not quite up to what I could do now, but
Yeah, but you know what though? Just looking at it, it looks like you had the ideas right. You made the little panels on the top different, and it looks a fair amount over weathered compared to what you do now, but it looks better than something that just pulled out of the box, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's all right. But anyway, now it has nice corner stuff, so at least on that one end. So.
Now those little guys can actually climb up on it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that'll do it for this month's video podcast. And I guess that'll do it. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.